Thanks for staying with us. Let's do business now. And President of the Association of Ghana Industries, James Asariaje, says high cost of credit and difficulty in getting bank loans is affecting businesses in the country. He called on the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank to come out with a favorable policy that will help reduce interest rates. MPC is holding its next meeting on Monday, 16th of May, and will be the first to be chaired by the new governor, Dr. Nashiru Isahaku.
The Monetary Policy Committee MPC of the Bank of Ghana is currently holding its 70th regular meeting to review development in the economy. The meeting will conclude with a decision of the MPC on the appropriate positioning of the policy rate. But the Association of Ghana Industries says access to medium to long-term credit still remains a major bottleneck to businesses.
Businesses cannot continue to borrow at this cost. All coming from the fact that you have policy rate which is at 26%, about the highest in the world. You have a situation where there's no cap, you see, on spread between policy rate and interest rate. We have a situation where banks or financial institutions have a field day of passing on inefficiencies, passing on other operational costs onto industry or borrowers.
The president of the association, James Asariaje, added it will be prudent for the Bank of Ghana to accompany monetary policy reviews with some mitigating measures to cushion local manufacturers who need medium to long-term funds at affordable rates.
We implore the new governor to do well to bring down policy rate, to do well to initiate moves, to regulate financial institutions, to make sure that the spread between policy rate and interest rate to some extent, you see, is capped, so that banks will not just increasingly, have higher interest rates.
Now, 88% of the country's workforce are in the informal sector. This is contained in findings of a new research conducted by the Trades Union Congress, TUC. A major recommendation from the research is for a national informal sector committee to be introduced to join the tripartite in wage negotiations. Well, let's get more into this particular story or this particular research.
The research findings covered between 2012 and 2013, which indicated that on decent work, only 85% of them in the informal sector claimed to have decent work. It again showed that 36% of the 88% say they are ready to change their jobs, while 64% say they are ready to keep their jobs. On the employment contract for the informal sector workers, only 7% have access to the contract, while 6.5% have access to written contract. The findings further show that only 5% of the workers have access to social security.
For most informal economy workers, they are not obliged by law, so their contribution should be mostly voluntary. But the other side of it being voluntary is that their incomes are also very low. So most of them live on daily basis, so they don't have enough for their own survival, left alone to keep some for future purpose.
On monthly earnings, those in the informal sector receive 362 cedis a month as compared to their colleagues in the public sector who receive over 1,000 cedis a month. The research findings is therefore proposing that those in the informal sector should be properly formalized to ensure they are captured within the tax bracket.
Once you are formalized, we expect that your business will be registered both at the national and assembly level. You have proper accounts, or you open an account, you have an audited account, and you go through all this. Those are the things that will make you a formal business.
The Trades Union Congress, which conducted the research, called for a capacity development for those in the informal sector.
Nobody's deliberately thinking about a planning for it, and now they're 88% of the economy. So the point is, they shouldn't just happen. We should deliberately involve them and let them be part of the country and part of the cake.
Well, so let's get more into this particular research, and I have Godwin Adawene on the line. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for joining us here.
Good afternoon, madam.
Well, first of all, how does this research impact on the economy overall? And is it good or bad to have a large percentage of the workforce in the informal sector?
From a labor law perspective,
okay,
having such a large number of individuals employed in the informal sector has very frightening implications, not least for the proper treatment of the workers involved. Because being engaged in the informal sector means that you do not come under the protective umbrella of many legal protections for workers. In very specific terms, those who are engaged in the informal sector as workers lack basic contractual protection. They do not normally have contracts of employment that spell out their rights, for example. Now, what that means is that it creates flexibility for the employers while exposing the workers to serious unfair treatment in terms of the minimum amount of money that they will be entitled to as remuneration, other conditions of service relating to safety, relating to fair termination practices, among many other things. These protections are generally largely not available to individuals engaged in the informal sector.
But
so it is a finding that should not be celebrated, but nevertheless provides very useful information for developing policies and laws to deal with the situation, particularly with respect to the basic rights of those engaged in such arrangements.
Okay, but that notwithstanding, would you say that the informal sector of a country or a particular country is capable of transforming the country's fortunes? Because this number that we are talking about, 88% of the labor workforce.
It depends on your definition of transformation. You cannot be transforming a society while at the same time, as it were, not protecting their basic human rights. Don't forget that workers are not commodities. So any notion of transformation must at the same time take into account the rights and dignity of workers.
Okay.
Therefore, if informalization of arrangement exposes workers to violation of their basic rights, then we cannot see that that arrangement transform the society or the economy.
Well, you said that this is something that we should not celebrate about. What policies would you recommend to be placed, to ensure that things change?
Well, let's take it from this point of view. Okay. The TUC, which is the umbrella body for workers, so to speak, yes, must seriously engage with the Labour Ministry and civil society groups to come out with labor policies that will take into account this reality. Okay. What it also means in specific terms is that our labor laws really must also change in terms of their definition of who a worker is for purposes of protection. It is when such a definition is restructured to then take into account those engaged in the informal sector that they can claim for some basic rights. So that, to me, should be the immediate step that any group or an individual interested in labor relations should be thinking of.
All right, thank you very much for speaking to us. I have been speaking with Godwin Adawini, and he is a labor expert, and he threw more light into the research by the TUC, which says that 88% of the country's workforce are in the informal sector, and he says that it is something that we should not celebrate about, and we'll pull the brakes here. That's it for business.